Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Today, bit of more of a talking about meta slash bashing CVs again because I want to. But talking a little bit more on the recent Rulers of Wave 13. If you haven't, definitely plug the playlist down below. Also some background gameplays, probably some couch gameplay playing behind me. And I'm going to have a few slides here and there, so if you want to, you can tune out and just kind of bop in and out whenever I kind of mention a main subject or anything like that. But Rulers of Wave 13 kind of brought back an idea I had for a video a long while ago. And it really goes back to an awesome creator on YouTube called Shyway. So Shyway did a video about how basically sometimes you don't want the video game developers to talk really to the pros only and balance around the pros. But there is a lot more concept within that to me covered some really interesting ideas within esports as a whole and what makes them interesting to watch and why people would want to watch a competitive game in World of Warships Blitz. How we can maybe apply those principles down to our mobile game and maybe make a successful per se in esports out of it, or smaller tournaments, make things a little bit more interesting, make things more intriguing. Because when we look at past Rulers of the Waves and other tournaments, commonly they don't feel like World of Warships Blitz. They feel like this is tournament play. This is specifically this one particular style, and you're not actually going to learn anything if you're a new player watching these type of games. Whereas I feel like the esports really should, and that's really what Shyway's video, I'll make sure the video is in the link down below, really some key critical ideas. So let's actually go into rule number one, which should be fair and balanced. Obviously, as any sport you want to play, it should be fair and balanced. Though in video games, a lot of time, gentlemen's agreements are there. So basically, hey, we're going to GA this particular weapon, this particular ship. Trust me, we see that tier 10 basically every single tournament just nukes the small ones. Like, you cannot use it. And sometimes CVs are allowed, sometimes they aren't, depending on it all. And that kind of brings out an imbalance because CVs have a natural imbalance in the game because of how much skill you have to have a CV in your game and then be able to do well in it within another ship that maybe isn't AA focused. That skill imbalance means that, hey, look, someone died out of, on your left flank because the CV just targeted them because they have no AA, and basically, what could that player do? It's a bit of a problem. We'll go on to the next part right here. But really, everything is about the skill and capabilities of the people playing, which makes it fair and balanced within that meta of high-level play. Now, he also kind of mentioned, especially with the pros ideas, that sometimes what you see in pro-level play doesn't actually matter to the general populace of players and such. In the Halo examples that he was talking about in his video, really went over the idea of this drop combo, these fast swaps and everything like that. Hey, basically landing 2 shots perfectly and then switching over to another gun. Really isn't a, per se, same situation here in World of Warships Blitz, but we definitely want everything to be about strategy, about skill and capabilities in esports, and should be fair and balanced, definitely. And when we look at plenty of tournaments, they generally try to work around that by maybe banning exploits, especially with the Rulers of Wave 13. They banned an exploit that literally could be perma-spotting with Dutch cruisers and such. There's also one with Dutch cruisers that you can really send off your airstrikes even further than what the range is if you do some quick maneuvers there. But with that and all that information, I know I'm just probably blabbing on, but I just really want to do this, a regular form, just kind of just me talking to you, and love to know, of course, always your comments down below. But with number 2, should prioritize skill expression. And that really comes into that fair and balance. These build on each other, is that there's no counterplay to CVs, really. If you get targeted by a CV, pretty much, if you're not in some sort of AA boat, and or have DFAA, there's really not much you can do against it. Yeah, you can dodge torps, and that does show some skill and show some of that skill expression that Shy really talks about in his video of going over the high level skills that you can bring out when you maximize yourself to that 1% or that 0.5% of top players. But with CVs, you have the insta bombing that basically, oh, one click and one click, dive bomber hits there, boom, done. You can't dodge it. You could be on the other side of the map. You can't do anything against it other than just hit a button and hope to God RNG doesn't get you. There's no skill involved in it. And that's where I think there's a lot of talk in the community right now. There's been a lot of talk, especially on the Discord side of things, that CVs really need what happened to the torpedoes. They just basically CVs either need to get looked over completely from top to bottom. All of their AA needs to be, or all of their plane health needs to be touched, their damage needs to be touched, their torpedoes need to be touched, and or you could go over and reverse it, and all of the AA needs to be touched. So you have plenty of AA just absolutely just crushing carrier planes. You could do it that way. But that still doesn't fix the natural problem where CVs bring about this failure of skill expression and a imbalanced game. I'd like to bring this to ranked 5v5 because I was kind of in the testing of it all, and pretty much almost instantaneously, CVs just showed they were way too powerful. You, of course, have less targets, which means you have less AA on them, which means that they become even that much more powerful, which is just nuts. And if you talk to anyone who's played ranked and get into a game without a CV, all of a sudden you hear from them that it's like, hey, yeah, I did this, or my teammate did this. Yeah, we played this really well. You're talking about these skills and these sections of a gameplay, not, oh yeah, I just won it. You know, the carrier kind of did this, or hey, I had this one particular thing. But you're noticing that people are talking more about the players and their actions rather than just the overarching game, because there's certain things and certain aspects that are just completely out of control. They can't show any skill and capability when there's a magical force that's doing damage to them that they literally cannot do anything back to. And that's really key problem with ranked 5v5, which I will say everyone that I talk to, they all say wargaming, could you do not tier 9 someday? No tier 9 sometime? Some other rank, please. Tier 8, 10, 7, who knows, please, something else. But when you have no CV in 5v5 ranked, 1 to 2 people through skill and capability could actually win the game for your team. And that's awesome. When you look at Rulers of the Wave, there were certain times that key critical moments, key people, were capable to show off their skills. There was nothing that was causing an imbalance to the game. And that's where I think, really, realistically, Rulers of the Wave 13 really nailed it on that. I was really kind of confused because the rules were no CV, unique ships. So basically, every single ship had to be a completely different ship type, ship nation. And you had 2 tiers. So it was, hey, you had a few tier 8s, and they could only be not or tech tree lines, and then tier 7 could be anything as long, once again, unique nation and such. And 3 BBs match, I think it was. Because that goes into point number 3. Should resemble core gameplay. Now, Rulers of Wave definitely looked like it. If you look at any of the screenshots I'm going to put up behind me, all of a sudden you're going to realize, if you didn't know this was any other game or in Rulers of the Wave, you'd pretty much say this is a randoms match. You could see it. You could go, yeah, I've had that, because you don't always get into games with CVs. You don't. And in my opinion, those games, you have to get really toned in with your skill. You have to make sure you are ready for that match, because now you don't have some overseer of death that basically just kills you immediately, or kills one of your teammates, or, oh, look, your CV doesn't launch, or their CV doesn't launch, and now it's all of a sudden an insta-win. No, it is purely skill based on DDs hunt battleships, battleships hunt cruisers, cruisers hunt DDs, and of course, you get the whole cycle of everything. That is where the should resemble core gameplay. Really, that is just something that just spoke to me, because now, once again, how I said in the beginning, you're not talking about people watching a game that could just straight up never happen. Like, oh my god, here's like four of these ships. They're the exact same ship type, and that's pretty rare in random matches. Of course, in previous Rulers of Waves, previous tournaments that I've watched, you definitely see a meta evolve. So you're just watching the same ships over and over again. Of course, Rulers of Wave 13 had that meta, but you had a few change-ups here and there. You actually had some skill expression of different varieties and styles. I think it definitely, you look at the Duca, the Nelson at the end getting popped up in there, and then swapped around from there, the Gascon versus the Bismarck versus the Vento. You actually saw these, especially with these top 1% of players in World of Warships Blitz, you really notice there were these key characteristics that were just more winning, but they still did pretty well. Everyone could watch that and see why, because it was all about skill, just all about skills within that ship. You could watch these top tier players and learn from them. And that is really something that Shy stressed on, that if you look at other games that don't really have too many gentlemen agreements, people watch them. People watch them all the time. They watch them in droves. Look at League of Legends. Look at StarCraft. Look at everything. They have so much balance to them. And of course, they have some bans. They do still have their gentlemen agreements. But a lot of these major esports, what they have is high watchability, because it literally looks like you are playing a game. You could watch that game, mimic what that person did in your game, and apply it and win, because you learned a new skill. You learned a new capability because it literally looks like the core gameplay, and it's balanced. That's the thing that I think with these three, I think if any further tournament should happen, of course, there should be fun ones. Trust me, I heard Shenanigans is going to have a really crazy one soon too, which I'm definitely would love to see that. But when you want a serious competition in a game, you should follow these three rules, and I really liked them. Of course, if you have any in the comments down below, please let me know. I'd love to. But through these three, I really do feel like the next Rulers of Wave, the next tournaments that evolve within World of Warships Blitz should really follow these. Because when more people can look at a game and go, hey, I can actually learn something from this, and it's in a balanced environment, which of course it's not. Wargaming should definitely look into the balance of CVs some way. And I think realistically, we go back to number 2. Should prioritize skill expression. I believe that there should be maybe a window of time that we could almost play like I don't know, some sort of stupid mini game or something added. Just 2 to 3 extra movements on screen when we activate DFA or something. Maybe in that skill we can have our AA target a specific incoming group, and it would almost instantly nuke it or something like that. So we have a little bit of control, and we can show our skill off against an enemy CV. Something that allows us to fight back other than clicking a button and turning and trying to hope to God that the CV sucks and drops their torps too close. Like, that's really the most you can do in many cases. Maybe pop smoke and hope that they see you, that you didn't move, or anything. We need some skill expression in order to dodge CVs to make them balanced, because then we can actually feel like we're doing something. It's not imbalance, and not just this omnipotent power that's just coming over and bombing us and we can't do anything. And then going back to the esports side of things, the more we see a regular core game that's balanced, and within that, I think we're going to get a lot more people interested, because it's not this weird point system that I definitely think I like the ideas around it, and I think that really harkens to much more complicated games. I think the more Rulers Wave 13 approach, something that makes the games that you're watching look like a actual random match, or even a ranked match and such. If you can make it look like that, then more people will watch it, because it's not something that could never happen. It's literally, hey, I could have just had that game yesterday. I could have just had that a few moments ago. And this pro that actually knows how to play, is at that top 1%, winning tournaments, did this action. I can watch them and learn from them. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, because Rules of Wave 13, I found a lot of that stuff to be noteworthy. You could really learn from that. And I think that a lot of the community really needs that. I think we're noticing a big skill discrepancy as the veterans get older. The middle area players have, I definitely think, have fallen off in terms of population. And I still think we are getting newer players in this entire scene. Not many, but we are getting some. The game needs to have a few good updates and a few good events and such. But if we can try to get these tournaments and or more balance within the game play specifically, especially a CV balance. I think an AA rebalance and maybe even an AA rework of some kind, so you could build that skill into the game. We could actually bring CVs into tournaments where, let's just say there's a way that if you do it right, you have to make sure you're hitting certain buttons at certain times, that air defense alert will legitimately remove an entire dive bomber squadron or something like that, or torpedo bomber squadron, while your main AA is actually fighting off against the fighters that have baited your regular AA. Something like that. Something where there's a control that us players can use against CVs. So all of a sudden it becomes a skill-based maneuver. So that, the carrier goes, oh crap, this person actually knows how to use their ADA. I'm actually going to dodge them. Not just, oh, it's a Worcester, I'll just, bait their AA and then bomb them elsewhere and kill them anyways. I really do believe, as much as I agree with the community of a rework and rechange ups and, a massive torpedo balance, but for AA or for planes, I still think that we should go back and maybe make a new mechanic that helps us play against something that we have really no power against right now. And the whole reason why you do not see them in major tournaments for World of Warships Blitz with CVs, or you see them as overpowered in certain modes where skill should really be the main determining factor. Ranked is the biggest thing. You just see it all around the world, and SBMM was created out of it because all of a sudden they realized they kept people there and such. But like, we should be able to show off our skills and then also show off those on tournaments without having this entire idea of banning an entire section of this game off. If we can somehow have a skilled mechanic that brings CVs into tournaments, now maybe even younger CV players that haven't even learned how to launch planes at tier 8, or don't know how to fighter bait, or don't know how to cross drop, or don't know how to specifically bait AA and everything. If they could learn that from watching tournaments, that would be really cool and really important for our game to grow a skilled player base under. So, to wargaming, definitely I'd take this into consideration, because I think these three rules are very important overall because of that. I really do believe that would help grow the skilled scene and the tournament scene, which of course builds a loyal player base. But to the tournament makers, I think that this would bring about a lot of learning capabilities of content creators who are watching, or even just players who record their videos and post it up on YouTube or Twitch or any other site, to kind of just go, hey, this is how I played, and this is how someone else could learn to play through that. So yeah, that's me rambling for about 20 minutes. I watched this video and I really wanted to make a whole talk about it a while back, and kind of just got lost in my notes. So when Rulers Wave 13 came by, I saw it kind of pop up back up in my YouTube list of everything, and I was like, that's actually perfect. And like, I just watched this, and of course there will always be metas. There will always be metas in a game. You'll always see top ships and such, but I do have to say that we saw one of the more variety in Worlds of Wave 13. The most variety, I'd say, in all the tournaments that I've watched since I've started watching tournaments. There just was a lot of different ships, and different ships that were winning and different ships that were losing at times. So it was something that was cool. It was something that wasn't just, hey, look, here's another 2 Romas and 2 this and 2 that, and it made it less boring overall. Yeah, eventually it kind of got to the exact same thing because people were stuck. People were practiced in it, but yeah, it was just something nice for once in a while, you know. But yeah, I think that's really all I can say. I hope that I didn't just ramble too much and just completely destroy it, but hopefully conveyed a message to both the tournament runners of World of Warships Blitz and also to Wargaming. I really hope that we can maybe evolve CVs to something where they have a counter, not just this mechanic that we can't really truly control. I think a little mini game of some sort, per se, you hit air defense alert, and if you quickly can manage like 3 random areas around planes, it immediately takes half off health or something. I don't know. There's probably dozens of ideas, and I'd love to know, of course, the ideas down below how we could make it more skillful and capable to actually feel like, hey, if I have a carrier coming after me, maybe I have a way to at least try to stop it just a little bit, and with some skill I can truly really stop it or something. I don't know, I'd love to know down in the comments down below, and let me know what your thoughts are on this entire video. I really hope that I did it all. I just gotta put notes there. Let me know if you like this style of video, but yeah, that's my thoughts on really Rulers of Wave 13 and kind of Shy's video and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. Hopefully everyone enjoyed today's video. Like, subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell if you want to see whenever a new video or stream goes live. Thank you all for making this such a blast. I'll see you all in the comments down below. Peace.
Enemy torpedoes spotted. We hit the enemy. We're under attack. Enemy ship locked. Torpedoes! Team is about to win. Good job. We're hit. Locked on.